As I said, I'm board chair of Planned Parenthood, and I met Beth when her nomination came across the table to join our board. And the recommendation from the governance committee was just gleaming. They were all so excited about her participation. And since then, I have come to know Beth as one of the most humble yet successful individuals I've met. Beth recently was awarded she was named the 71st recipient of the Shapiro Citizenship Award that is given through Rotary in Watertown. And because she is so humble and modest, I didn't know until that night, because I attended the ceremony. I didn't know that night until people were coming to the mic and talking about what she has done with her life. This is the same woman who was interviewed on WNY because she won this, and she said, "I don't know why they picked me. So many people have received it in the past. I don't think I belong." But what I've come to realize in my 60 years of life is that it's those kinds of people who don't realize how wonderful they are. And that's one of the reasons that they're wonderful. So I'd like to introduce to you Beth Linderman. She is a retired social worker from Jefferson County, and she is our speaker tonight.
So I wasn't sure how Chris was going to introduce me. I asked her earlier if you really wanted to hear from a retiree from Jefferson County. So I want to add a disclaimer that I'm not paid to be here. I didn't come on a bus. My husband drove me. So, yeah. But thank you all so very much for caring enough about our country to be here tonight. So first, a little bit about me so you know how I ended up here doing what I do. I grew up in a small city in Western New York in a period of post-war prosperity. We were a pretty typical family. Dad went to work every day as a tool designer for General Motors, and on weekends took care of the house and the yard. Mom's priorities were taking care of her family and doing some volunteer work. Before I was old enough to go to school, I went along with her, and I think that was the start of my community engagement. An important influence on my life was the Interfaith Youth Group in our community, which was about 100 high school students representing multiple congregations. Our focus was on how people of faith interact with the community and the world, and on getting to know each other and learning to respect differences. Each spring, we went on a study trip and were exposed to issues that went far beyond our little city, visiting the Pentagon for a briefing one year, taking part in group learning exercises at the UN another time. So I guess it wasn't a stretch for me to choose social work as a career. During my bachelor's degree program, I shadowed caseworkers at the Tioga County DSS, investigating allegations of abuse and neglect, and met with families who needed support to be better parents. I learned about rural poverty there and met with families who needed that support in order to make change possible for their children. I've lived and worked in South Carolina, New York City, and even the South Bronx. And because my husband was on active duty with the Army, we spent time in Georgia, followed by a 3-year tour of duty in Germany. It was an amazing experience to live in another country, and my view of the world kept expanding with each move. And then we came to Watertown. Out of the Army and settled in Watertown, my husband and I went about the daily responsibilities of jobs and raising our 2 kids. Rotary became a part of my life when I served as director of family counseling service. Our motto of service above self aligned with my value system, and here I am, still a Rotarian years later. Serving on the Watertown School Board of Education and my more recent involvement with the United Way and Planned Parenthood has continued to broaden my understanding of the needs of our area and provide an opportunity to work with groups of people who want to, in the words of the United Way, live united. That might have been the end of the story, except for the political chaos we're in the midst of right now. I personally don't think it's an overstatement to draw parallels to times in our history when a lack of action by good people led to disastrous outcomes. Most of the organizations I'm involved with have an assumed or explicit guideline that we keep politics out of what we do. It is, to an important degree, what lets groups like Rotary International do what they do effectively. But some things transcend politics. And I'm afraid we may gone too far in applying the no politics rule when it prevents people from speaking up about important issues, from challenging things that others say that are just plain wrong or hurtful or even cruel. We've become afraid to talk about things that matter. In some cases, we're trying to be polite. In other cases, there may be real concerns about the consequences for our work or relationships. If it's true that we all have more in common than not, though, which I sincerely hope is the case, then we need to start having those conversations. Rotarians try to follow the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Not everyone subscribes to a religious belief, but it's possible for anyone to behave in an ethical, moral way. My own faith tradition tells me that we are on this planet to take care of each other, to lift each other up, not to put people down or oppress them. I have 5 grandchildren, ranging in age from 12 to 19. My grandchildren are growing up in a world that no longer expects people in positions of responsibility to behave decently, where it's okay to say what you think without regard to its impact on others, where there are no consequences for unacceptable behavior, and where being kind is considered kind of quaint. There are media personalities who don't let facts get in the way of a good story, and elected officials who verbally attack people who are struggling. Every day seems to bring worse news about the harm being inflicted on vulnerable citizens in our country. That's not what I want for my grandchildren, and I don't think that's what you want for your children or grandchildren. Please join me in speaking up when necessary to make our community and our world a better place. I'm still finding my voice, and I know that it's not easy. Start close to home and let someone know if they've crossed a line in conversation. If you're not good at phone calls, email your elected officials to let them know where you stand. Stay informed about current legislation and get the facts about what's going on in the world from reliable sources so that you can speak with confidence when others spread lies. Attend events like this one. If you can, donate to candidates who believe in true American values or to organizations that have lost funding due to the administration's actions. Most of all, model what it's like to be a kind, decent human. Again, thank you all for being here tonight and for everything each of you contributes to our life together.